Welcome. We are the Global Grandmothers Council Network, tending our roots this winter as we go deep into who we are individually and collectively. And today it's my grand privilege to bring Kalina to you. Kalina Bains is our editor of the Global Grandmothers magazine. She's been putting her heart into this for a year, full on year. We had our anniversary edition just came out,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and Kalina calls herself Kintsugi woman. She has built a life around letting the brokenness shine through that we each have. And I, Kalina, I just want to bring you on and welcome you. And I've enjoyed working with you this year. You're a dear sister to my heart.
Yes, yes. I feel like you're a sister, across the miles, but we are so much alike in the things that we've gone through. And I just know that from the experiences that we've had that we can understand. And this is what's so important, this whole journey of grandmothers, where our voices across the globe are we are so much alike, even though we're brought up with different situations, religion, and families, we're so much alike. And as you know, I was raised Mennonite when I was younger, right? I have a very conservative background. I'm the oldest of 8 children, and I just have a very myself. I want our voices to be stronger, and this is my Kintsugi woman who was born out of that, and seen my mother and my sisters and grandmother especially too. And so, my Kintsugi woman, that theme, the Kintsugi infused empowerment that I've been sharing in my blogs and my website and my web for the last 15, 20 years, has all been about my brokenness and my voice that has, for so many years, I felt was silenced. And so now, as the grandmother and as the woman I am that I've matured into, I feel that I can give back. And there's so much that I've learned, and that there's so much more for me as a grandmother and as for our whole community. And so we can shine brighter together.
I love that. And as we're talking about tending our roots, I would love to hear specifically how tending your roots, what that means to you and what your roots are. You mentioned Mennonite, but let's go a little deeper into that.
Mhm. So my father was an old order. He drove a horse and buggy in St. Jacobs. I live in Ontario. I live I'm not far from Toronto, about 4 hours away from Toronto. But when I was raised in a Mennonite community near Elmira, St. Jacobs, if people know Ontario at all, that's the area my family lived in. My father was born in Hawkesville, and he was raised in a very, very conservative family. His parents were old order, and so he was raised old order. And if you've seen people go with their horse and buggy and drive down the road, that is my background on my father's side. And so my parents are still Mennonite. My mother is still Mennonite. My father's no longer here, but my family, all on my father's side, they're all farmers. They're all basically, well, they are Mennonite. They're either horse and buggy Mennonite or they're Markham Mennonite. And they can Markham Mennonite. They can have black cars, and they still wear the cape dresses. All my cousins wear the cape dresses, and I used to wear a covering when I was younger. And anyway, my father, he went to Korea when he was a young man, and then when he came back, he was shunned, and so he left the old order, but he was still Mennonite, and that's where he met my mother. And my mother, when she was a young girl, she was actually raised and born into an English family. But when her father died, my mother and her two sisters were taken, and she was put into an orphanage. And so a Mennonite family took her and my two aunts, and they raised them. And so I always had three wonderful grandmothers. I always had a wonderful relationship with all of them. And so I really learned a lot from them and saw how their voices they didn't have the rights. They didn't have the ability to be the women that they really could have been, right? And so my background on both sides were Mennonite. So they're very conservative. But because my mother, when she got older, and she found her real mother, right? And my father helped her. And so I had that third grandmother, my mom's mom, was the English side. So I've always, when I was younger, I got to see her jewelry and I got to see the way she dressed and the way she was. And so it was funny. I had two that were farmers in Old Order and Mennonite. And then I had the one that I learned to enjoy the makeup, the getting dressed up and like feeling pretty and looking pretty. And she gave me the confidence. And it just changed the way I saw things. From the time I was 6 years old, had a rebellious spirit, and I saw things differently, and I wanted things different, and I always felt I was born in the wrong family, right?
Mm. I
So,
know that feeling.
right. So very
Yeah.
conservative.
And those roots of conservative Christianity, whatever form they take, whichever denomination or group they are in, they're pretty basically the same. And while I wasn't raised as strict as you were, I was raised without voices. We were raised without voices. We were raised that women were to be silent and not to be heard aloud. And
Right.
so tell me a little bit about how you came through that into Kintsugi.
Okay. So, well, when I ended up marrying a Punjabi man. I rebelled. I was a rebel. Anyway, I rebelled. I left home when I was very young. I was a dropout when I was 17, right? And I married a man from Punjab. I fell in love with him. He was just a beautiful man and beautiful spirit. But I have two beautiful children. And I was married for 30 years, but we ended up in a divorce. There were a lot of things over the years that issues, and I ended up with a divorce. And through all of that, there was a lot of, I helped him bring his mother and his father and his siblings over. And so there was a lot of, because I could see through them that felt like I didn't have the authority in my own home. I didn't have my own voice. I didn't have the right because he was the oldest son, and so we ended up having to take care of them. And so they lived with me for over 10 years. I had 13 people in my house, and I had no rights in my own house. And so that brokenness, that anger, the pain, the post traumatic stress, and then I ended up with fibromyalgia and depressed and all these different problems. And the only thing my doctor kept saying is, like as soon as I had my divorce and I was out of that relationship, I became healthier, I became stronger, I had to find my voice though. And it took a long time. It took a lot of brokenness, a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of the way I felt about myself and about the world I was in. But I saw from my mother in law, from my sister in law, from my mother, from my grandmother, how much I needed to break out of that. And that Kintsugi woman, I don't know if you've ever seen this picture of, it's Paige Bradley. She actually has, it's about 2000, maybe and 10 that I saw this picture. And Paige Bradley has this image of the Kintsugi woman. And what it is she didn't call her Kintsugi woman. What she has is this image, and she's a naked woman. It's a clay statue of this naked woman that's in a park. And it looks like she's broken, and the light is coming through her. And I've always believed is my pain, and I've been healed and broken open so much, and God's love has come through and healed me. And so that's my Kintsugi woman. That's my experience. But because of all of that, I became so much stronger. I found my voice, and I've become an advocate. And being the oldest of 8 kids and 5 sisters, of course, I want to be able to empower. And I've got 3 granddaughters, and I've got a grandson, and I want their world to be completely different than mine. I do not want a life where they feel they have no choices or no voice. And this is really important, right?
I remember when that image came out, and as you were talking about it, I got the chills. I remember the feeling when I first saw that, how powerful that light shining through our brokenness was.
Mhm.
I love that that's what's inspired you. That's
Right. Well, I
beautiful.
think it's so important, right? We're all stronger. I'm stronger because of that, right? if you have a look at our website, it's paigebradley, I believe.com, but you can have a look and see your beautiful artists, well with clay and you
That's
know.
lovely. So you've had a life, you've raised some kids and some have some grandkids, and this last year you came into Global Grandmothers, and tell us how you came to the grandmothers and came to become the editor of our
Yeah,
magazine, which is such a
oh,
gift. Oh, we're
thank you.
so privileged to have you doing this. I've
Right.
enjoyed working with you on it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, after I had my children, so my son was about 3, 4 years old, I actually went back to school as a mature student. And ended up back at college and took some university courses. And I ended up I was an executive office administrator. And then for over 20 years, I was in the office and worked in, I'm very comfortable with most programs and I'm very creative. Right, that's one thing. I've always been very creative. And when I was younger, because of all the things I went through, I've always been a writer. And so I started, and I've had many blogs, and I've been a writer and being creative. I've taught myself many programs, and I've been in real estate and engineering and office. And so I've just at times wanted to learn more. And so I taught in my, excuse me, Cava. Canva is an amazing program for anybody that hasn't used it. You can do so much with it. And I've made presentations and I've done YouTube videos and I just have a lot of fun with it. But I ended up going and we were camping about a year and a half ago. It was in the summer and I had bronchitis and I was so sick and I already was a member of the Global Grandmothers Council Network, but I ended up seeing that you were looking for a volunteer. And so Mayana and I was corresponding back and forth with you, and you were looking for a volunteer. And first I thought, oh, I can do some admin. But then it was like, I want to do so much more. I can do so much more. And then I said, well, I could do a newsletter. And so the first issue was actually a newsletter that we did with Suzanne. And then after that, I'm like, I can do more than this. I can do more than a newsletter. I can do a magazine. So let me try and doing a magazine, right? Making a magazine. And you said, sure, let's do that, right? So that's what I started. And with Canva, it's so easy and with the programs, right? And so I'm sorry, my phone there. I thought it turned it down. But anyway, so my magazine skills, I've been editing and creating, and Mayana's been the second pair of eyes that we've been going through the magazine, and I've been learning so much, and we've got all these different programs, and I love it. I love being able to do this and be able to showcase the other women around the world, and it's just so amazing and exciting. I'm really excited to see what this next year brings. But because I've been doing this, and for myself, at home. I'm a senior and I'm also a retired. And it's like, what am I going to do if I live to be like my dad? What am I going to do for another 25 years, right? If I live to be in my 80s or my 90s, but I've got to have something to do, a creative outlet. And so making magazines and websites. So I've got my Media, Kalina Digital Media is my website that I have. You can have a look at. But I encourage anybody, if you're an author, if you're a speaker, I could make a magazine for you. I can make a magazine for anyone that has their blog. I can turn that into a magazine. But there's so much more I see for us as a group, as a council. And I just would like to see more on ground and more personal where Mayana and I have never met, but I would love to be able to meet you and to be able to get on ground just around here. And so that's what for this next year is my goal and on my bucket list is to be able to create that circle of women around me and to be able to have more of an experience with a one-to-one experience.
Which is our whole goal, to have a network of councils that are on the ground doing the work in person on the ground where you are, bonding together. And yes, this way is wonderful when we don't have that, but that's so important. And I just want to share that what I love about how you stepped in and stepped up, that's what I love when people want to volunteer. I don't want somebody to come in and just fill a spot. I want you to come in and say, hey, this is my passion. I want to work in this area. I want to do this. And I'll be like, hey, let's find a way to do that. Let's make it happen. And that way, I can lift you up and let you shine, and you lift me up and let me
Right.
shine. And we just do that for each other. And that's what this Global Grandmothers Council Network is to me. And those of us who have been leading in the core, we're each doing our own thing, but we're doing it together. And we invite all of you to join us and bring
Yes.
your
We'll have to,
gifts.
right?
Yeah.
Mm. We all learn from each other. And as ambassadors, in this area, that's what I'm trying to start too, right? We want that global grandmothers. And so I have talked to different people around this area too, and we're trying to start something, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And I know a lot of seniors and a lot of older women and mature women, they've worked all their lives and they're not sure what to do. They don't know. And they're maybe a little bit fearful, a little bit maybe unsure about what the next thing is to do. And so I think that as an advocate now for grandmothers and women like that are ready to step into their power and find out they can shine so much brighter. A lot of them think, oh, this is the winter of my life. Like Suzanne, right? Suzanne had gave so much of her life to empowering of women that through post-traumatic stress and different things, right? And that's what we are doing. We're stepping in now for her. She opened this global grandmothers for us. And now we're doing that for other grandmothers. We're doing that for you as whoever you're listening. And we want to be able to just shine brighter so that you can step in too. And your voice will be so much louder and brighter and bolder in this next year,
And
right?
everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Everyone's life has stories that are wisdom. And the magazine is an incredible place to tell your stories, to put your stories in print, to share the tidbits of wisdom or a poem or a song or, lyrics, anything, even cooking, your recipes that you've created. These are things we can share together because we all have interests. Maybe your garden has something special you want to share. Maybe you're in a care center with other women and you'd like to come together and tell a story together about what that experience is like. But whatever it is, we welcome you to join and
Yes.
share.
My daughter, she had cancer, right? And I know there's a big community of parents out there that have children with cancer, or they have children with disabilities, or they have themselves issues with it. We've got so much more that we could be sharing, about grandmothers that are deaf, my grandmother was deaf all the time. Right, and I know the different areas in our life, in our situations, in our relationships. There's a lot of women that in their 60s have divorced and they're starting all over. And it's those experiences we need to hear about. We need to empower and share and lift you up. And there's so much more for us out there, right? And it's just, we are are stronger. Our light shines brighter together, as a community, as grandmothers, as my Kalina Media, right? That's what my goal is, to empower and to lift you up. So,
I love that
um,
Kalina Media that you are offering a magazine or a pamphlet or a newsletter for someone who has a business they're just getting started, or maybe they've had it for years and they're ready to go to a next level of having something to give their people about what they do and who they are. That could be a really powerful marketing tool. And in our in the magazine, would you talk to us a little bit about advertising and submissions to the
yeah.
magazine, how that happens?
Okay, so we've got an email. I'll send it and we'll leave it in here. It's a submissions email that we've got. But so what I do is every month I'll put out a little blurb and just ask for your submissions. and then you email it to me, and I take that content and I'll add your images, or I'll find images and we put that into the magazine. And so we've got that, and we've decided that we want to make it. We're working on a directory too, or more, to put all of it. What I'm trying to do is with contributors, and then making it a more extensive list of everybody there too, so we can click onto the links and read and see the. You can. We'll leave the information here, but if you go to our website, you'll see the magazine link there, and you can click on and see our latest submissions, our magazines, and it's in a flip book type of it. So it clicks through just like an automatic magazine. And they're so much fun making. I really enjoy making them, right? So, but that's what it is. It's a flip book. If you've heard about that. So it's, you can turn the noise off if you don't like the noise, and then it'll just continue on. And there's links, and I put in videos. So if you send me a video, I can put the hyperlinks in, I can put your images in, and it'll click to your website if you've got a website, or if you've got an event that's coming up. But we need more sponsors. We're looking for sponsors. We need to put more ads in, and we would love to be able to support you in your journey and your initiative. If you've got an event coming up, and put that in. We would love to advertise what it is. What are you passionate about? What is it that you're doing to help to empower and shine on other um, groups of women that are empowering? We want to share that. We want to highlight that in our, and 2026 is going to be amazing, because we know that you're out there and you're looking for a spot to shine, and we are right here, and we're waiting. We're just waiting for you to click on that link, and so that you just open up the doors so that I can add you, that you're going to shine this year. I know in 2026, right, Mayana, they're going to
Yes.
shine brighter and bolder and louder. I say shout out loud, right? You're going to shout out loud, and you're going to shine bright.
That fire horse is going to just fly us into the new year. This is the darkest time. It is the darkest time, and we see it in the world, and we see all of the things that reveal how dark the mind of humanity has gotten. And it's time for the grandmother's voices of wisdom to speak during this time of chaos. And the magazine is one of the best ways that we've found to get those voices out, to get them shared. And share the magazine with your children and your grandchildren. This isn't just for grandmothers to read, it's grandmother's wisdom for the world. So bring your children and your grandchildren to the Global Grandmothers Council Network. Sorry.
We also are sharing, we've had different submissions from men. So just so you know, it's not always articles from women and grandmothers. We've had men, because of our partners, and it's so important too that we do shine a light on their story and their journey. And so if you've got something that you would like to share, and you're a grandfather, if your partner wants to share something, send that to me and we'll have a look at it, because it's important that we open the doors. And as Global Grandmothers Council Network, there's an opportunity for us to partner with you. So just make sure you connect with us, and we'll be able to do that, right? We'll be able to.
I love that, because while our Facebook group is women only, and the members have been really clear that that's what they want in the Facebook group. We have 54,800 women only. But in the magazine, there's wisdom everywhere. There's wisdom in our children. There's wisdom in our youth. There's wisdom in our parents and the new grandparents and the elders. And we can share any kind of wisdom that comes through about any variety of subjects. This is an open platform with open hearts and tender care.
Yes, and as grandmothers, we've got grandsons, we've got sons that we want to empower them and lift them up too, right? So we need to be able to find that platform that we can work together, right? And so we're doing that.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you, Kalina. This has been such a joy to be with you, and I'm so glad to be sharing this on Tending Our Roots with the Global Grandmothers Council Network. And there will be links to all of these wonderful things we've talked about on the last page that you can take your QR code or look at the link and copy the link. So
And there's
thank
so
you,
much
Kalina.
more, so much more. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you.